Hey everybody, thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Ardmore Connect. As always, I am one of your co-hosts, Josh Pagan.
Hey, and I am Brian Cronin, and with us today we have Chef Brian Duffy from Ardmore Q. Hey, how you doing, Brian?
Morning, everybody.
Hey Chef, what's going on?
Another day in Ardmore, man.
I love it.
So I wanted to ask you first, though, I wanted to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to meet with us, because I know that you're not only running Ardmore Q, but you're also got your own show that you're doing, and you seem to be all over the place traveling. So I think that's really exciting, especially during this time, to keep going. But I wanted to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about Ardmore Q and what got your start in Ardmore.
Sure. My name is Brian Duffy. I'm a chef. I was born and raised in Ballackinwood. Went to Ballackinwood, went to Lower Merion, went to St. Matthias. I was born and raised in this area. My parents moved here in 1975, I believe. And then I moved, there you go. I moved to Ardmore, actually. I guess I moved to Ardmore in 1995. So I've been here for many, many years. What's that? 30 years. I've been
27.
Yeah.
I only know that because it's right around my birth.
There we go. Exactly. So, so I was
throw that out there.
Area. I love the area. I'm a huge fan of it, and have been pretty much through most of my life. So yeah. I decided to, I travel a lot. I fly about 100,000 miles a year. And on my trips coming home, every time that I would come home, I'd always kind of make the rounds around Ardmore to some of the local bars and restaurants. And, we've seen this massive transition starting to happen in Ardmore with all the new apartment buildings that are going up and all the new construction. And I really wanted to get involved in that. And as a consultant, my first world was, I'm going to grab all the Irish pub owners and all the bar owners in Ardmore and say, all right, what are we going to do to kind of to go towards this trend of where it is? And I thought, that's a little pretentious of me and a little aggressive of me to grab all the other restaurant owners around here because they're doing such a great job. But I wanted to make sure that we were really moving forward with the trend of what's happening. And so I walked into Ardmore Q one night, and Guy Bonadonna, who used to own it, grabbed me and he's like, get me out of here. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And so I asked him what the price was, and we pretty much had a deal the next day, is more or less the way that it happened.
Wow, that's pretty quick.
Yeah. Pretty aggressive dude. So when I see an opportunity, but first thing I want to say is I've always loved that property. To do a location like that, you can't do that in the middle of a strip mall. I couldn't do that up at, say, Jason's Tordasso. It just wouldn't work there. Mm-hmm. But the corner location that we have, it works because I have a smoker outside, plus I have a smoker inside. So for me, it was the perfect location, and I had the opportunity to be a little bit more aggressive here because it's a down and dirty barbecue smokehouse than I am anywhere else in any other property I've ever been involved in, owned, whatever.
Fair enough.
And you only live around the corner, so you just walk there. So
I do. I live on East Spring, so I can walk there. I don't, however, walk there much because of the fact that I'm constantly out either at a market or a farmer's market or a farm or a purveyor. Ever since the pandemic happened, I pretty much stopped using purveyors for my meats. And I work with a company in Philadelphia that I actually had them pull in the meats that I wanted to use. So I go down and pick those up pretty much every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
And one of the things that you guys started since the pandemic that I noticed is that you did that. I named it my way or the highway burgers. That's what it is. My way or the highway. And I got to say, I've had a few of those, and every time I've gone, I have not been disappointed, and it's always something different. So what gave you that idea?
Well, there's a couple things that kind of came into that. So the first one was we started it around late April. beginning of May. And the big reason why I did it was because I was sick and tired of not seeing anybody out. You might have a straggler, like this was smack dab pandemic, quarantine, 9 yards, but there were still people that were out walking around, and I would have people that stopped by and said, hey, do you guys have lunch? How do we do lunch with you? And we don't do lunch. It's just not one of the things. The smoking process takes us all day long to get done, so we don't do lunch yet. I have another process, another coming up pretty soon. But
Ardmore Connect exclusive.
Exactly, that's right. I might throw that out there. So, but for me, it really was an opportunity to socially distance, to get people outside with their kids, with their family. And at the same time, I called it my way or the highway, because it's a $5 burger that is sometimes ground in-house, unless I have one of my purveyors grind for me. We hand create every single burger. We patty them up. We make everything that goes with it. We shred the lettuce. The tomatoes are mostly grown in my backyard, of my tiny little backyard that I have, where I've got 6 tomato plants that for some reason the Ardmore soil makes them explode with unbelievable tomatoes.
Wow.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. And then, we always come up with something really cool. So like this week I did a smoky chili, which was, I had some smoked short rib, and I got some smoked pork tenderloin that we had done from a party the night before. And I just made a smoky chili. So that's what this week was, with pepper jack cheese. Last week was a white trash burger that had a tomato bacon jam on it. We're always doing a different burger. We're doing a really cool sauce. And the other thing is, growing up on the main line, we have a very, what word am I looking for? We have a discerning palate with a group of people that live in the area where we live. People like to make modifications to things all the time. So I had to do something to say, look, trust me, I got you covered. I'll never let you fail. And it's a $5 burger, man.
I'm in, sign me up.
There are no modifications whatsoever. It is, however, I feel like making it that day. We sold 100 burgers this week in 2 hours. We shut it off at 2 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
And I don't want more people. So
that's enough. Yeah.
We
want more people.
I actually don't make any money on the burgers themselves. I don't make any money when it comes down to the labor that gets involved. I did a $5 burger as a let's all get outside. You want to bring a beach chair and a fold-up table? Bring a beach chair and a fold-up table. I'd love to have you sit outside somewhere. If you want to pop and sit in the back of your car, we had 9 cops from Lower Merion the other day who all drove down and had the opportunity to have lunch. So we made 9 burgers for the cops right there. We have the township committee comes down all the time. So we have a lot of people that are in the area that stop by to have a really fun burger.
I heard, the last time I was there,
I
overheard you saying that you're looking forward to doing this when it snows.
Oh, I can't wait. I want it to be a staple. We're not doing it this week because I'm traveling and I'm in the middle of a staff transition. So we're going to take a break this week. We're going to regroup. I've got to reorganize. I've got to reorganize the way that we're doing the burgers, because it gets so windy out that the checks blow away. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So I have a new printer system coming in that's going to be able to go outside with us. And, we're really trying to streamline it and organize it so that it's really enjoyable for everybody and nobody has to wait a long time.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so I had a question, because I feel like a lot of restaurants are now doing this thing where it's like a take it or leave it type of situation. Do you see that as becoming like a bigger thing? I mean, I know you said it's not normal on the main line.
It'll never happen.
You don't think so?
Burger King started it years ago, where it's have it your way. That's just the nature of what it is. People want an option. They don't want to be told what to do. So you'll never have a take it or leave it type of menu that's out there. I mean, there's restaurants that will say there's no modifications to their stuff, but in my situation, and especially being in an Ardmore on the main line, it would never fly. It does with my burgers, because I kind of stand my ground on it. You have to.
Right.
The guy the other day he wanted no mustard and no mayo on it. and we kind of made fun of him for a little while because it was fun, you know, and I did, however, let him have his burger that way, but that was it because he was the only person there. There was nobody else around.
Right.
You've got to realize when I've got 30 burgers that I'm cooking all at the same time, when people want modifications to it, and again, I want to say it's a $5 hamburger. Okay, and this is a $5 hamburger that is worthy of $12 or $13 in a restaurant.
Right.
So I'm not doing it as a modification. I'm doing it for fun.
Well, so let me ask you this, because I feel like there's a niche out there. Like me personally, like I'm the type of guy who will walk in my barber and be like, yo, cut me up however you want. Like I'll go into a restaurant and say like, what's the chef cooking tonight? Like whatever his favorite meal is, just make it for me. Like that's just who I am. Do you feel like there is that niche group out there that you could cater this to at a bigger scale?
Oh, absolutely. And we have plans to do a lot of other really cool things. We're going to be doing chef dinners. We're going to be doing some kind of festivals. We're going to do a crab festival probably second or third week of September. We've already got a lot of interest in it. I put some feelers out a couple of weeks ago. We're going to be doing a live fire dinner in October where I'm actually going to be cooking everything over live fire.
Oh my God.
We'll have our smoker's lip. We'll have our gas grill. Or I'm sorry, we don't use gas. The only gas that I use for the grill is in the kitchen. Everything else is wood fired that's outside.
Awesome.
So I'll do an outside fire that will have all the sides set up and ready to go, and then we'll grill meats and all that stuff outside and do kind of a big mixed grill type situation.
It's right up my alley.
There are, we're a barbecue spot. So for people to come in and go, oh, I didn't realize you did that as well. That's what I want to hear, because I want people to get out of the old adage of it's just a barbecue spot. Look, right. I'm a classically trained chef. I did my apprenticeship at the Four Seasons in Philadelphia. I've opened over 100 restaurants. I've been involved in menus that are limitless for what it is that I do. So barbecue for me was really a fun opportunity to be in my neighborhood. I didn't want to change the name. I love the name Ardmore Q. We've branded around that with our pig ouster. I don't know where my logos are, but it's a pig head on a cow's body with horns, with a rooster butt, and a big Q wrapped around it that I drew on a napkin on a plane and sent it to my graphic designer. Like, those are the ideas, and those are the things that we try to take and turn into something super fun.
That's one of the things I want to ask you. How did you, since you traveled a lot and you've opened a lot of different restaurants, and coming back with your background, what made barbecue, or smoke rather, your niche? Is it, you don't see that around here too often, like especially coming from the city. You don't see like a smoked niche. So what? Yeah,
I wanted to embrace the idea of what smoke is. We all open up. That's wrong for me to say we all. My clients have opened up restaurants. They always have a concept theme. I want an Italian restaurant. I want an Irish restaurant. I want a German restaurant. I want a gastropub. I want a sports bar. But I wanted to get into something that doesn't have really, we're barbecue. That's the way we go. We do ribs and brisket and pork and all that. Actually, I'm pulling brisket off the menu just so everybody knows.
How would you do that?
Why? Because honestly, the main line doesn't like fatty brisket.
Really? I always felt that that's one of your signatures.
Yeah,
our brisket is a signature, but unfortunately, and I'm not one of those people who reads Yelp all the time or goes into that, but the bulk of negative comments that we have on Facebook, Instagram, and all of that is that our brisket is fatty. And unfortunately, we don't do a baked or roasted brisket. What we do is we do a smoked brisket, fat on. We trim it down to 1/4 to a 1/2 inch. There's deckle muscle in there. There's meat. There's a lot of fat that runs through the briskets that we get. And we get a lot of complaints. We don't have so much that people hate it, or the community does. I'm kind of working that out. I'm either going to put on there that it is a fatty cut of meat, and if you don't want fat, don't order this.
Sure.
You know, we're going to do a tri-tip, which is a California cut. It's a very popular cut in California. I'm in the process of getting a purveyor to bring it into me right now, because one of the things that we have is we use all natural meats. All of our meats are clean. My chickens and all that are free range, and they're also halal certified. So we use a really, really clean product on everything that we do, and then we smoke the hell out of it.
So nice.
No, you do. I mean, I gotta say, hands down, I'm a big fan.
Well, thanks, man. Well, look, the whole idea of it is we're not pretentious. We really just want to have fun. You know, our music's a little too loud. You know, my staff is, I mean, my daughter who's 19 is my lead cashier. My other daughter who's 16 is my other cashier. You know, my girls work in the restaurant. Our staff is very young. The oldest person who works in the restaurant besides myself is 22 years old. So we have a very, very young staff. So my guys are aggressive. They want to go after things. So some of the sandwiches that we come up with are a little aggressive. You know, we did something a couple weeks ago called the Screaming Nona, which was a smoked Italian sausage with cherry pepper relish on it. And we have a whole bunch of just really, really neat, kind of super fun sandwiches that are over the top. You know, some of the names of the things that we do have double meanings to them. We really try to have a lot of fun with the stuff that we do in the restaurant.
Oh, you got to. I mean, you got to like stand out from everyone else too. You know,
yeah,
be a staple.
I mean, I had a
Brian,
guy who,
can we go there first? When we do the in-persons one, can we go there first?
where's that? Oh yeah. You know, I had a guy
Q.
the other night who sat down and he said, "Hey, can you do me a favor?" This was outside. He said, "Hey, can you turn the music down?" And I unfortunately had to say no. You know, there's 7 other people that are sitting outside, and one of the things about us is that I want the music to be representative of who we are. So we play a lot of bluegrass. We do a lot of blues. You know, Garrett Dutton, who's a Philly guy, G Love is a good buddy of mine. I play a lot of his music in the restaurant. A lot of his friends that have that same genre of music. We love the blues. So we really want to embrace that, but we don't want to overwhelm you with the twangy of bluegrass. So we actually do a lot. My playlist, which is available on Spotify, if anybody wants to follow it, is called Ardmore Q. And one of the things, we have a lot of cover bands that do bluegrass cover bands that do classic songs. So you all remember the song Tainted Love. Yeah. Well, think about Tainted Love being done as a bluegrass. Think about Time by Pink Floyd being done in a bluegrass method. That says, hey, look, we're classic, we're fun.
Wow.
I believe in music kind of leading the concept of a business. It's very important.
Sure. Wow, I've actually never even heard of that concept before. So for you to bring it up is just very interesting to me.
Well, I mean, you've got a concept that you're working with, and it should be all-encompassing. The first thing that I did when I came into the restaurant is put my personal spin on the restaurant. So
sure.
For me, hats. I love hats, man. Don't even question how many hats I have. Don't look at my hat rack that's over by the front door that holds the dog's collar, the keys, and about 45 hats on it. There's hats in the bathroom. There's hats in my bedroom. There's hats in my car. And I have about 75 hats that hang in the restaurant are all hats that have either been given to me by friends or other businesses. I have a lot of military hats in there. I do a lot of work with the military. I volunteer 30 days a year to fly all over the world and cook for the troops. Hats are really important to us. So I wanted to make sure that we got hats in there. There's pictures of my family in there. My father's 3 cowboy hats that I got when he passed away are on the wall within the restaurant, underneath over a sign that says "Stay Weird." You know, we really just want to have a lot of fun in the restaurant. We want you to love the food. I want you to love me, but I'm not that lovable all the time. You know, but my staff is. I love having my daughters in there. We have a lot of fun, man. Come on in and say hi.
Can I let me ask you this? When you open up a new restaurant, you said you do over 100. By the way, I love the mug. It kind of has like this weird, like it looks like it's like a crown, but it's got the black up there. It's great.
Little eloquent, yeah.
It's cool. And so when you go into a restaurant, you open one up for the first time. What is the first concept you try to think of? Like is it the atmosphere, or is it the the music and that brands it, or is it the food style? Like, is the ambiance, like, what is like your close on it? Like, what is your first point of attack when you go in there?
Honestly, my first point of attack, if it's not my restaurant, if it is my client's restaurant, my first point of attack
Like,
is to dig into the client itself. So Josh, if you wanted to open up a restaurant, I would have a long conversation with you. I want to find out what you like. I want to find out what your, by the way, I'm in my house alone. I'm touching my face. I've got a long beard that's in the process of growing by myself. No mask. We're good. We got that good. I want to get that out there. Like, he kept touching his face. I'm alone. I'm getting ready to shower. But for me, I believe I want to know what your concept is. I want to know what goes on in your brain, because your brain is what I want to work with. So if you tell me that you absolutely love hamburgers, but you want an Italian restaurant, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull you away from doing an entire Italian hamburger restaurant. But what we'll do is we'll create a really great Italian restaurant that has a couple of really cool signature burgers on your menu to make you happy. But we still have to think about the masses as well. So I have to, for me, either pull brisket off my menu, because I piss a lot of people off because it's a very fatty brisket, or I have to now put addendums onto my menu to let people know, hey, before you order this, it is a fatty brisket. I want you to understand that. And by the way, we weigh our brisket, and if there's a lot of fat in the brisket, we actually overweigh our brisket, because I don't want you to get all fat. I want you to get a lot of meat in there as well. So if you order a half a pound of brisket and there's a large amount of fat in there, then I'm going to put that brisket up to 3/4 of a pound, or a little bit, a little in between that half and that full. So we really try to make adjustments with everything that we do. But with that concept, what I believe in is staying true to what the owner wants. Because if you say you want an Italian burger restaurant, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create that for you. But if I try to create just a straight Italian restaurant, you're going to hate it in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 10 months, and blame it on me. So I really pull your brain together. I talk a lot with you on the phone. Talk to your friends. Find out 20 items that you guys would like to see on a menu. I'll create those items for you. I'll make them signature for you. But when it comes down to, once I get the concept done, that's when I start to build out other areas. I work on the ambiance within the restaurant. In our restaurant, we have hats everywhere. I try to find Qs. I look for Q, the letter Q, on Craigslist, on eBay, on vintage sites, at garage sales, at farmers. Like, I look everywhere. I'm always looking for really cool Qs. To go back to the hat thing real quick, if you donate a hat to the restaurant, I have one wall dedicated to donated hats. You get a free order of wings. Like, I want the community to be involved. Now, you can only bring one hat in once a week to get the free order of wings. Let that one right off the bat.
Have you had someone every other day with a hat?
I've had one guy who stopped in probably 5 or 6 times. But he's got some really cool hats, and he's a nice guy, and we communicate, and, I'm cool with that. I mean, we've got a really cool kind of diverse group of people that live within Ardmore and the surrounding area. So we want to make sure that everybody feels super comfy and super happy. And I love it when people walk in and be like, yo, man, that's my hat on the wall. Like, that is cool to me.
That makes sense. It kind of reminds me of those days of, if you remember in like New York, they used to have the woman that used to throw the bras on the bowl head.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? How'd
my world, when I graduated, before I even graduated culinary school, I went down to Key West, because I actually worked in Key Largo with a mainline family. I worked at their restaurant when I graduated culinary school. And one of my first stops when I went down to do the interview was I had gone all the way down to Key West, and I ended up at one of the bars down there it has bras all over the ceiling and dollar bills taped everywhere. And, that's that kind of community eclecticness that I love so much.
Yeah. Did you ever get a good piece of advice before you started your own journey?
Get out of the restaurant business.
I guess you didn't follow it.
No, actually, what's really funny is about 10 years ago, 10 maybe? Yeah, I guess it was about 10 years ago. I actually left the restaurant business. I was the corporate executive chef for the Dave McGrogan Group, the guys who owned Kildare's, Doc McGrogan's, Moss, and Harvest. And I opened up the Harvest concept with Dave McGrogan and Dana Farrell. Dana was the brainchild behind Harvest. And her and I worked very closely on putting a menu together that was under 500 calories. And we dealt with 75 farmers. And I had worked for those guys for about 4 years, and I was starting to wear down. I stopped looking at a cup of coffee as a quality ingredient. And I started to look at the mug that was $7 and the $1.12 that went into the cup. And, I started to see servers as hourly employees, not as people. So I had to take a break. So I left the restaurant business and I went and worked for a development company where I created frozen seafood products for every major grocery store chain in the world. And I did that for 365 days of the year. When I left, I weighed 293 pounds.
Oh, wow.
I stopped the movement, and then I got right back into it. I had to get back into it. I missed the restaurant business. I missed the industry. I missed the people. When you walk into my place in Ardmore, I'm going to communicate with you. I really want to know who you are. Where are you from? Why are you here? What did you do? Do you have kids? Where do they go to school? I really love the clientele that we have. I love having them in. So I try to have fun, but in regards to anybody giving me advice getting into the business, a lot of people gave me bad advice. I mean, you're talking about the early 90s when we were walking into this industry. So, one guy told me, work at as many places as you possibly can. Get in there, learn as much as you can, and get out. So that made my resume very spotty for a long period of time. And then from there, I started to make my own mind up about my own advice to people, which is stay true to your brand. Hold on to your brand. If that's what you want, then embrace it. And once you embrace it, you can create the clientele. You create the place. The clientele are going to come because they're going to find you. We're proud to be down the street from Tired Hands. We're proud to be next door to Rittenhouse Deli. Their beer selection is unmatched. And I tell people all the time, you can buy a really expensive soda from me, or you can go next door. He's got like 300 bottles in there. Go up to Tired Hands, try their beer. We'd love to pair their Saison with one of our, with our brisket sandwich. So
that was going to lead to my next question. So obviously, apart from Ardmore Q, what is your favorite Ardmore places that you go to? It doesn't have to be restaurants. It could be any store in Ardmore. Or any business.
You know what I love? I love Buckman's. I just started skiing again. And it was really weird because at that point I was 48 years old, and I walked in and this 23-year-old kid kind of pulled me under his wing. And he's like, here you go, man. And he was so helpful to me across the board. I mean, it was like after I went skiing my first time when I got my new boots, he called me. And he's like, hey, how are your feet doing? How did they feel? What can I do? And I said, they're really tight. He took my boots back in. I love Buckman's. I love, where else do I go? I love 23 East. I think they've done an amazing job. I love Ripplewood. I love that the fact that they're as aggressive as they are with what they're doing. I love the food. I love the bartending. I love the mixologist. I love everybody that's in there. I will always be a McCluskey's guy. Sure. I grew up at McCluskey's. For God's sakes, I grew up down the street at Ghislaine's. My sister, 18 years old, used to come and knock on the door at 2:00 in the morning and be like, hey, can I see Brian Duffy, please? She was 21. I was 18. I love Ghislaine. It was such an awesome bar with, all the bartenders that were in there and those goddamn clowns that were all over the wall.
AKA Clown Bar. Yeah. AKA Clown Bar.
It was a cool place. I love what's the Vietnamese place?
The Pho place.
I love it. I love seeing all these cool little spots that are opening up. Look, Ardmore's got a dispensary now.
I know.
Like, who would have ever thought, in everything that's happening on the main line across the street from the police station, that there was going to be a weed store? Like, that is progress. That is development. That is aggressive. That's forward thinking on Ardmore's part, which is exactly why I own a business in Ardmore, man, because they're starting to move forward. And you want to know my other? Trace. I love Marnie. I think Marnie's awesome. I think she's aggressive with her marketing. I like to see what they're doing. I'm kind of afraid to find out what's happening with Mapes. Are they selling it? Are they closing the store?
Yeah, I saw that sign. Yeah, I know.
You know, and I hate to see that, man. I mean, Mapes is a staple to my business. If I need a screw for something, I run over to Mapes. If I want to, a Reese's peanut butter cup, I run over to Mapes. Like, it's there. If I want sunglasses with smiley faces on it, guess what? Mapes got it.
True.
I try to frequent everybody around here as much as I can. But I mean, I grew up going to Ghislaine's and McCluskey's and Annie's. I mean, Annie's, I had my 21st birthday at Annie's, where Jerry Timlin was the singer. And Jerry said, "We'd like to wish Brian Duffy a happy 21st birthday, even though he's been coming here for 5 years." I mean, it was
great. That's
the nature of what it was at that point. So,
sure.
But I love the people in Ardmore, and really the My Way or the Highway burger came out of a necessity for me missing community.
Well, I think also what you were saying too, a lot of Ardmore has a lot of the history of what you grew up and remember, and it still exists here, even with today's trends and moving forward. It's still like a combination of both, I think, and I think that's what makes us a staple.
I mean, look, McDonald's, Roy Rogers is now McDonald's. I mean, Bri, I don't know. I think you're a little bit younger than I am, but I mean, that's where we went. Roy Rogers was our Snapchat.
Sure.
We wanted to know where to go. We all knew that we were going to meet at Roy Rogers at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. There weren't cell phones. We had pagers. But I mean, really, there weren't cell phones, so the communication wasn't there. It would be everybody. So you would have Lower Merion, you'd have Harriton, you'd have Baldwin, you'd have Shipley, you'd have Haverford School. Everybody met in the same parking lot, and then we would decide where we were going to go from there. And that was the hub. That's where I grew up, was at that Roy Rogers. My father was a teacher at Archbishop Carroll. My mother was a nurse at Bryn Mawr Hospital. We didn't make a whole lot of money growing up on the main line. And, we'd all go to Roy Rogers, and I'd sit there at that salad bar and eat the pickles and onions and lettuce and make myself sandwiches.
Is that where your love of food started? Roy Rogers?
What's funny is I still go to, like, when I travel and I see a Roy Rogers, man, my mouth actually starts to water for that damn bar. That little salad bar that you can build whatever you want.
I think
man. You want 40 pickles on a sandwich? You put 40 pickles on a sandwich.
I think you could only find those like on Jersey, like truck stop.
Yeah, well, there's one on the Pennsylvania Turnpike that's just south of Route 100.
Oh, you've been already.
I know where I'm going. Yeah, and I got to know where the food is.
That's the best, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roy Rogers.
Yeah.
Dude, it was great. Roy Rogers was awesome. It was where we went. I mean, you would get there on a Friday night at 7 o'clock, and there would be cars all down Ardmore West. Mm-hmm. That whole section, and even the cars behind it back towards Primo, which, by the way, that's my other sandwich shop, man. You want a great sandwich, you want a great hoagie, go to Primo's. You can't beat it. There's something about dropping something off at the dump in Lower Merion, and then coming up and ordering your hoagie ahead of time and walking in and getting a hoagie that's this big with this much meat inside of it. Sure. And those guys that work in there have so much pride for what they do.
Yeah, they do.
That's Ardmore, man. That's who we are.
It's so hard to find young people today who have that pride.
It's tough.
Any kind of thing they work, no matter what it is. The pride isn't there. Yeah. Young people don't.
Guys, I'm walking with you as we're talking. My dog has to go to the bathroom. She's a little mad at me right now. All right, buddy.
I'll be honest. I've never been to a Roy Rogers before.
Really?
I've never been to one. I didn't have any growing up, so I didn't.
They used to do a burger called the Double R Burger, I think it was, the Double R Bar or something like that. Man, it was a great burger.
I think they're the ones that created the bacon cheeseburger, if I'm not mistaken.
They invented the bacon cheeseburger?
Not invented it. We're the first ones to sell it.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, look, I loved Roy Rogers. I thought it was awesome. I loved it as a kid growing up watching the movies and all that stuff. And, you know, I love Roy Rogers is a huge, it's a very vivid memory from me as a kid. I mean, that's where we met, man. That's where we all went. That was, you knew to go to Roy Rogers, and then Roy Rogers, you would go from there to a house party or down to the Point or Belmont Plateau, like Man Music Center. I mean, who else saw James Taylor at the Man Music Center?
That's
you
true.
know,
Yeah.
Who else saw Jethro Tull at the Man Music Center? Like, the Man Music Center. What a brilliant idea. And then all the kids partied on the side lot. It was the greatest place to go.
It's sad to hear and read about what's going on with them right now.
I honestly, I hate to say it, I don't watch the news anymore. It's just not worth it for me. There's too much negativity out there.
I agree with you.
I hate to hear it.
I mean, just we
were just talking about that before, Brian.
Yeah, well, I work. I did. I work in music and do marketing as well. So, I'm always, my ear is always to the ground when it comes to like music and venues, and to know where we are right now. Like, I'm hoping that something will, there'll be a silver lining at the end of this tunnel. I don't know how well it will be for that, but I mean, for you, Spencer, speaking of silver lining, do you see a silver lining coming for you at the end of this pandemic?
Yeah, I think that once the election's over, I think that we're going to start being told the truth. There you go. How about that one? I think I want it back to community. I want it back to the first 2 months of the pandemic. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's where I want it to go. We all as a human race had the same exact goal in mind, which was not to get sick and not to get anybody sick. So for me, that's where I want to go. I think that this is going to raise a lot of awareness to, what I can speak on as a professional is the hospitality industry. We need to make a lot of changes in regards to the way that we work with our employees, and we need different wages. We need benefits. We need to really get involved in a lot of that, because, I wish I knew then what I know now. I think there would have been a lot of different changes career-wise for things that I would have done. So I think that is going to happen. I think that the average consumer is now getting a much better idea of the hospitality industry as a whole.
Sure.
And what it is that we go through. There's a lot of struggles that go through on a daily basis. I mean, Saturday afternoon, my guy called at noon as we were getting ready to sell, 100 burgers, and he wasn't feeling well. So we immediately have to adjust. I don't have backup staff. I don't have a temp staff that I get to call into. We had to adjust. I had to shut down the restaurant inside so that we could handle the outside. A lot of people don't realize that. And a lot of people don't know the cost of what goes into what we do. I don't make any money off of the $5 burgers that I sell.
I thought about that. There's no way you could.
Well, I mean, I work with a bunch of really good purveyors. So my meats that are ground, they work very closely with me. So I pay a good price for my burgers, but I don't overpay. But realize that the burger that you're getting is going on to a 52-cent roll.
Mm.
The burger that you're getting cost me 85 cents to put on there. So right off the bat, you're at $1.35. We had sauce in there. We had labor in there. I had the cost of the wood. I had the cost of, the sauces and the condiments and the lettuce and all the stuff that goes onto it. And I don't make any money on those burgers, but I do it because I love being outside and communicating with people and talking. And how many people drive down the street and see a short, fat guy sweating, standing in front of a grill, literally in the middle of the street, and they want to know what the hell's going on.
I've actually stopped myself only because I seen you out there. I'm like, you know what? I'm a little hungry now. I'm going to walk over there and get one.
Well, I mean, in this week, I have a couple of people that show up, usually about 2:15 every single week. And I really tried to save burgers for them, but it was fast and furious. I mean, we had 50 people standing out front at 12:05. Like at 12:05, we were 50 burgers into it. So yeah, it happens really, really fast. But again, we're reorganizing to make it much better. I will always only sell 100 burgers. I won't do any more than 100, just for my own sanity.
I mean, you really can't, though, if you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely would even hurt yourself even more if you keep doing more and more and more.
Well, and that's why we cut it off. I mean, at 3 o'clock, we stop. Right across the board, we stop selling at 3 o'clock. My servers know, my cashiers know, everybody knows inside of the restaurant that if somebody walks in at 3:01, we're not selling that burger. It's actually locked out of the system at 3 o'clock. You cannot order a burger after 3 o'clock. We just don't make money on it. You know, it's a promotional thing. It's a community-based thing. This week we had, my God, the amount of families that we had out there, and we had kids in strollers, and, you know, we had people sitting in their cars. You know, there was a family that sat across the street in the trunk of their car, and they ate burgers, man. Big, fat, sloppy burgers. You can't beat it. I didn't even take a picture of the burger this week to put online because I ran out of it so fast.
Wow.
Well, that's not a bad problem to have.
Nah, that's a good problem to have, I'd say.
There are zero complaints at all about this. I mean, the people that come in there and order these burgers are awesome. You know, we have a kid who comes in every single week, and he's a trumpet player. I don't know if you know who this guy is. He's probably 12 or 13, but he plays taps for the military all over.
Wow.
So really, really nice kid. And there's times I'll show up, he's in a suit and a tie because he just got finished playing somewhere. Like, we have some really neat characters that come by. We've got, a couple weeks ago, we had 10 people that were working on the gardens. They were all Lower Merion employees that were on their lunch break. You know, Mapes orders their food, Beyond Happy, the dispensary. They come down and they see us every Saturday afternoon. It's the same faces over and over again, which as a business owner says a couple of things. One, we're doing something right.
Sure.
Because they are continuing to return.
Right.
And two, they trust us to not even ask the question of what's on the burger. That's a pretty great feeling.
I mean, it totally is. I remember the first time I went, I think I was with somebody and they were like, well, how does it come? I said, don't ask the question, just order it and eat it. I promise you. And they did.
Yeah. It's funny because the rules for it, I'm going to see if I can pull them up. The rules are pretty funny because I think there's like 9 rules to ordering the burger.
It goes back to Soup Nazi days, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, but, and again, we try to, you know, we're trying not to be rude. We try to really keep things, you know, as fun and lighthearted as possible. So that people we want them to come and have fun. I don't want it to be crazy. I really just want it to be a whole bunch of fun. Where is the burger thing that we talk about? I'm sorry, guys. I shouldn't be doing this while we're in the middle of an interview.
No, that's fine.
Oh, you're good.
I mean, I've seen the promo, and I never came across to me as rude. So
yeah. Well, so what we do is, so the promo for it, I just lost it. How weird is that? So it's time for My Way Highway Burger. It's a very simple process. 1, see me outside from 12 until sold out. 2, ask what the burger is. 3, pay for it. 4, trust me. 5, get napkins. 6, take a photo and tag us. 7, stuff your face. 8, listen to great music. 9, tell your friends, which I'm pulling 9 out. Don't tell your friends. And 10,
don't tell your friends.
And number 10 is repeat number 4, which is trust us. So
I like that.
Yeah, I was in Big Sky, Montana a couple of weeks ago. I do a lot of hiking and a lot of exploring, a lot of traveling. And I was that's where I was last week. I had 0 service, so I couldn't even get on. This week I was getting ready to take off, and then my alarm went off, and it was like, don't go anywhere. You got to talk to Brian and Josh. So, but I was in Montana, and they have stickers that they give out to people that say, Big Sky sucks, tell your friends. And that's kind of what we're going to do with Ardmore. Like, Big Sky sucks, or Ardmore Q's burgers suck, tell your friends. We don't want more people coming.
Makes sense.
If
No.
you know what it is, stop by and say hi. If you're unsure,
Our burgers are trash. Don't come to us.
Yeah.
Or you could change number 9 to pair up with a good beer.
Well, and that's what we tell people to do, is to walk up to Tired Hands and get a couple of beers. Go down to Rittenhouse. I mean, Brandon's got such a great selection of beer over there that I get to play with. We even had a brewery that came by. They pulled a special license to serve outside, and we had a brewery that stood in front of the restaurant for 4 weeks. Bald Bird Brewing, who's out of Audubon. They have a property down in Manayunk. Their beers are brilliant. We go out there every Friday night and cook out in their parking lot, and we invited them down with us. But Brandon's got a beautiful selection of beer. The guy even sells Jello shots for Christ's sake. So like, hey, let's have fun with Brandon. Plus, he's got unbelievable
it's a cool
Mexican
spot.
food. And to me, as I keep saying, it all comes down to community. I want you to come in. I want you to take advantage of Tired Hands. I want you to take advantage of what's going on down the street. Michael Coughlin's in all the time from the insurance place. The dive guys are in all the time. Like, the Trillium Flower Shop. He's my first guest every single week. He stands there every single week with enough cash in his hand for 2 burgers. Doesn't even ask. He just says, I want 2. Like, we have really good people in our neighborhood, and I love seeing them.
I agree with you. I have to.
Awesome.
On that point, I'm going to end it because we are at
An hour.
I don't want to take up all of your time. I'm sure you're busy. But I do want to take, again, thank you very much for taking the time out to speak with us. I know that you're this guy, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah, man. I
can't wait to come and visit you. I can't wait.
Well, you haven't been in yet, Josh?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, well, guess what? Too bad. You're out of luck. You're not allowed. No more for you, dude.
Get out of here, he says. Our burgers suck.
Come in and have fun, man. Saturdays are a lot of fun for us. We play loud music. And you know what? I know we're ending this, but I mean, like, think about this. Nobody complains. They don't complain about our music being too loud. We don't have complaints on that. Like, we have neighbors behind us that their houses smell like smoke because of us. And we give discounts to them, and we're always trying to make sure the back is super clean, that we clean up our area. We don't want to ruin the neighborhood. And we have such an unbelievable amount of support from people that it makes me really happy to be able to go into work. Thursday mornings, I'm in there at 6 a.m. I start my smokers, and I'm waking people up with the smell of smoke. And I always apologize for it. And they're like, do not apologize. We love it. We appreciate it. We're hungry. We'll see you later. We have a really great team around us that wants to support and help and be a part. So
that is great.
Yeah.
I guess on that note, we'll end it. Thank you guys for thanks for joining us. This was great. I look forward to coming and seeing you, and thank you. Is it echoing?
No, I'm good. I got you.
I don't know what you just did. Started echoing.
Started echoing, right? Brian, you want to sign us off?
Sure. Thanks everyone for listening. I think I'm echoing.
Now you're echoing.
I'll finish it off.
There you go.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to Ardmore Connect for the week. Do me a favor. You got to go to ardmoreq.com. Make sure that you place your orders online before you come in. It's 10 times easier. Don't use Grubhub. Don't use Caviar. Don't use DoorDash. Don't use Uber Eats because they take too much of our money. Use it on our website. Come in and have some fun and sit outside at the picnic tables and have a great time.
That's the best, dude. Thank you.
That's great.